Hello, my name is Shahin, and I'm going to be going through assignment 1 for UNX-511. So this is the Word document with all the screenshots. Before we go into that, I'll just do a quick intro for myself. I'm in semester 6 of the CPA program, so I'm in my last semester, and yeah, I'm looking to acquire a job within the IT industry, ideally within front end, um, within the coming year once I graduate. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. And so let's run through the assignment. So assignment 1, we have question 1, which is formulate a command which opens the data file. We can take a look. So we have the cat. Moving on to question 2, this is just completing the various steps that were listed here, running sleep 90 ampersand, sleep 80 ampersand, excuse me. And yeah, so I listed the explanation, really the conclusion of, and also each step what they do, and I have the screenshots. But essentially, the ampersand makes a job run in the background. So that's what's done with these two lines you can see. And then if we just do sleep 100, you can see it's within the foreground. So we have to do Control C to completely kill that uh, process. And so that's why when we do PS, we can only see those two, which are running in the background. We can also see with the number there that they match up. So it is those two sleep processes. Um, yeah, and so if we take a look here, if we do sleep 80 and we do Control Z, this actually pauses the job or the process, but it doesn't completely kill it like Control C does, which is what happened when we did sleep 100. That completely killed it, whereas Control C, or sorry, Control Z will just pause the process. So now when you see, if you do PS, you can still see it's there, but if you run jobs, you can see one is running and one is stopped, which is sleep 80. And so if you press BG, or sorry, if you enter BG, you put it in the background again, and you can see it starts to run again. So yeah, that's this question, and I thought it was fairly straightforward. Uh, ampersand makes something go in the background. Jobs shows the list of active processes going on. Foreground puts it in the foreground. BG in the background. So on and so forth. Control Z pauses the process. Control C kills the process. For step 3, we have to create the directory structure as shown here. So I've done that here where we do make directory chapter 1 through 3, final chapter. We'll show the ls of the chapters here. We change it to chapter 3, do make directory section 1, section 2. And then we go into the final chapter, we make those directories, and then we go into chapter 1. So we do touch revision dash curly brace 01 dot dot 09. And so by doing this, we create the 9 files in one command, which is very helpful. You can see with the ls that it's done as shown. To make the hidden file, we'll do touch.preedit, and then to recursively copy all these chapters, we do like so in one command. As for the hard links and the soft links, so we can zoom in a little bit here, but these are the inode values shown. And so to formulate this command, it's similar to shown here in the hard link screenshot, but you just need to add a -s to make a soft link. And so these two are soft links, and then this one here is a hard link created. And so now if we do ls-li, we can see these two are soft links, and then this one is a hard link. And so I've written here the difference between them, but essentially soft links are creating like a copy from the source, so it's hard links. If you change anything to the hard link, it'll change it within that other location as well. So that's essentially it with hard links and soft links. And so yeah, so now we check the permissions for the hidden file, and we see it's just read and write, and then we change it to be read for everyone, and we show these are the permissions now. We show the directory tree here as shown. And yeah, that's for question 3. So moving on to question 4, I completed 4B, 4A, 4C, and 4F. I had troubles with 4D and E, which I'll get to once we get there. But so we create the shell script here. This is the command for it, head and 5. So we show the first 5 in that text. We also change them onto UNX so we can execute this. We do the same for 4B, and so we do grep dash v gauge learning, and so this is omitting. We want to show lines that do not have this string, so that's why this produces this output. For 4C, we want only the ones that have this string, and we also want to change it to from lowercase to all uppercase, so we transform it, and we add a pipe as well to combine the two. And then for 4F, it's simply just a cat of the text itself to get that output. And so so for D and E, I'll show you. Oh, sorry, let me just go back. Actually, I didn't show the draft name txt. I can show you that real quick. So this is this one here. So it just shows that like so. Anyways, so for 4D and E, I had troubles with this one. 4D, I had a general idea of like how I can maybe figure this out, but essentially the issue I was having was I was doing cut dash D and the delimiter was the space, but these lines have multiple spaces in them. So like for example, I would only get Unix. I wouldn't get Unix shell programming, or I'd or sorry, like for example, book ID, it would only go till a certain point because there's spaces between them. So that was the issue I was having, and I couldn't figure out how to, you know, get it to produce an output. And same thing with E as well. Print all the records which have a certain pattern. This one I had no idea. Um, D was also very hard for me as well. I couldn't figure out how to. I knew how to get the sorting after 2010, but just figuring out that delimiter situation was tough for me, and I couldn't get it to work. So unfortunately, those two I couldn't finish. Yeah, and then so for question 5, if we move on here, so I create the C program with including all these libraries. We have a directory char and int check 0. So we ask for the directory name, we scan it, and then the check makes the directory, given the directory name, and we give it the permissions here. And then so if it returns 0, then it's created successfully. If not, it says we're unable to create it. So if we do gcc 5.c dash out step 5, and then we just run step 5, we create the directory name of as1q5-shahin, and then if we do an ls, you can see that it is successfully created. So now we move into as1q5, we copy step 5 and step C into this directory. We show again ls, these are the only things within this directory. So we run step 5 again, we create chapter 1, we run step 5 again, we create chapter 2, we run step 5 again, and then so I try to do creating like so, where you do chapter 3 dash section 1, chapter 3 dash section 2, and it says it's not able to be created. And then if we run ls again, we see we have chapter 1, 2, step 5.c, but we don't have those other ones because it failed. And so this is the error handling we have in place. And yeah, so then we create chapter 3, we create final chapter, and then so that's an example of how we can create a similar directory structure like as step 3.2, I believe. Yeah, question 3, step 2. So yeah, we did the error handling, we made the same directory tree. And so yeah, my main issue was just this question 4, D and E, I couldn't figure out how to, produce a command that would create this same, the output that it wanted. I was having trouble with the cut and dash D. I couldn't really figure out um, that section. I knew how to do the sorting, but I didn't know how to do that one portion of it. And then for this one of where you had to get an output based on a pattern, I didn't know how to do that one at all. Um, but yeah, so those were the challenges I faced within the assignment. I felt overall it was rather similar to the coursework we did throughout the weeks and the in-class assignments or activities that we do. Um, yeah, and then so evaluating myself, I would say a 10 would mean that I did perfect and I completely did it correctly. There's no mistakes, there's no faults. But obviously, given that I didn't do D and E, I don't think that's a fair um, mark to be given to myself. I think a 7 out of 10 would be a fair mark because I have a general understanding of the concepts from week 1 through 6, and I know if I just given more time and more practice with using Linux, or sorry, Unix commands, I would have this down easily. Um, but yeah, so I think a 7 out of 10 is a fair mark to be given. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say. Um, yeah, and so also another thing. So November 3rd, I submitted it on time, but I remember in class you stated we could submit the video a day later. So I'm doing this on November 4th. And yeah, that's all. So thank you for watching.